Good morning, everyone. Wobringer here. Today we're doing something different. We're going to take you all for a little tour. We're going to be cooking some steaks for Mom, and I thought as long as we're cooking, we might as well share with you all. So, this stupid camera won't go from one to the other. There's the kitchen finally done. I'm pretty excited about that, if we're being completely honest. It took way longer than I would have liked, but it turned out freaking smoking. I'm pretty pleased with that, but that's not why we're here. We'll do a kitchen tour some other time. I did get a little bit of sun yesterday, so no Rudolph jokes. Yeah, we haven't finished the construction on the backyard yet, so we got some trim and some siding put up. Once again, that's not why we're here. That's why we're here. So, let me change orientation on this camera, and we'll be back after the cut. All right, y'all, we are back, and there it is. There is the pit. We're cooking today in a horizontal offset smoker, and that sounds like really scary, right? Oh my gosh, what is that? Well, it's really, really simple. Wood goes in here. We actually have our kindling pile and our starter sticks ready to go. After you light the beast, you get fire, whoosh, right? An hour or so after we light, we'll have a really nice hot bed of coals, and we can start putting smoking wood, like our friend Mr. West Texas Mesquite there, into the firebox. And because you're just taking cured or semi-cured wood, i.e. dry or partially dried wood, putting on a hot bed of coals, it will smolder and produce a lot of smoke. That smoke comes into the smoke box, which is this side. And it all, you notice it's offset, right? So it travels under and over the product through the smokestack. We're able to control our outflow with that simple damper. Down here on the firebox, you've got your flue. More open, more oxygen, more heat, more flame. For today's fire, since we're going to be smoking sirloins in a process that we call a reverse-sear, that means that we're going to build a fire up to about 225 or 230. And we're going to put some really nice thick cut ribeyes on there for about an hour to an hour and a half. That's not going to get them up to eating temperature, but it's going to put a really nice smoke on them and flavor them really, really well. The reverse sear comes in when we go visit Sweet Lady Propane over here, right? We'll bring the steaks over to finish on Sweet Lady Propane, and what our game plan here. Ooh, I need to clean it. Our game plan here will be to get one side of Sweet Lady Propane as hot as she will go. And since the steaks are already par-cooked, we're going to reverse sear. Normally when you cook steaks, you sear, right? Have a hot side and a warm side, and blast your steaks on the hot side to sear them or lock them in, and then finish them on the warm side so you don't create leather. What we're going to do today is a reverse sear technique to where we're going to cook them low and slow over smoke until they've taken on about an hour, hour and a half worth of smoke. And then we're going to reverse sear them, meaning then we'll blast them to get a really nice sear and get caramelization. We're going to do a really simple lacquer. I don't believe in saucing barbecue. In Texas, we shoot people for that. But we are going to do a lacquer on those steaks as we're searing them. It's a bourbon balsamic that we just lacquer, meaning we don't sauce them. We just take a little grill brush, and as we're searing them, we just put a little tiny brush of that on there, and it will react with the remnants of the barbecue rub and the sugars in the bourbon, and it'll give just a little caramelization effect without saucing your steak. Because I believe in barbecue, if you have to cover it up with a thick sauce, you've probably fucked up somewhere along the way. You're hiding something, your meat doesn't taste good, whatever. I mean, it's basically, barbecue is a really simple thing, right? Buy good meat, don't fuck it up. You do those two things, you're probably set. So, to light our fire today, I want to show you all this. This stuff is awesome. You should be able to get this in about any part of the country. and it is called fat wood. Okay, what is fat wood? Well, fat wood is an organic fire starter. Looks like this. They're little sticks, you know, about as big as my finger, a little longer. Hello, ladies. But fat wood are the stumps of a pine tree, and they have some very interesting properties. For one, they're organic, 100% natural, no petrochemicals added, nothing funny going on there, right? The other part of fat wood that's really, really interesting is all that pine sap and residue that's caked into that wood and baked into that wood is hydrophobic. And so if you, I'm not going to accuse any of y'all of being a prepper, right? But if you have, you know, a bug out bag or a get home bag or any survival supplies, this stuff needs to be in there, because even if it gets a little bit damp, you're not screwed, okay? Well, this will light a fire like you cannot believe. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go 100% open on our stack. We want as much air moving through here as possible because we're going to build a bed of coals. We're not going to put, I've got some nice mesquite logs there, and I got an applewood log there. But we're not going to start with those. I've got some applewood kindling. I know it's criminal to light the fire with applewood, but it is literally all I have right now. My wood pile is a little bit barren. So technically, when you're just lighting a fire, you can use anything that's non-toxic, okay? Because you're not going to cook off of it. You're just building a bed of coals. The reason I say non-toxic is we don't want any funny smoke going and coating the inside of our smoke box and making people unhappy. So I've got a combination of kindling and charcoal from the last cook. We usually have 2 or 3 logs that don't cook down all the way because I close the fire down. And then fat wood in here, so we should get a pretty righteous blaze. Now we do have some wind today, so getting this thing started may take some doing, but between the kindling and the fat wood, I imagine this is going to take off pretty nicely. We'll just light it a couple different places. See, we've got so much wind that I actually lost the fire there, so we may have to close this down and maneuver a little bit. We've got about a 15 or 20 mile an hour wind today, and it's blowing right into the pit. So yeah, let's close her down. We want to have enough air for fire to happen, but not so much that it blows it out when it's in its infancy. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what's happening now. You can see the way that fire, or that way that flame is just getting pelted. Once that fat wood ignites, the temperature on the pine sap, I don't remember, it's like 150 degrees or somewhere thereabouts. Once that takes off, there's very little turning back. You can, I don't know if my camera's good enough, you can see some of that pine sap starting to render. And once that oil starts to render, you're going to have a ripping fire. We just have to get the wind down enough to make that take off, but not obviously choke it out because we're trying to light a fire, right? So, balancing point, the challenges of doing it manually. You know, my mates use propane torches and whatnot to light the fire, and that's fine. Propane burns clean. I'm not dissing them. I think that a couple of my friends have propane-powered penis extensions. You know, they're compensating for something. This is just how I like to do it. It'll take about an hour for this fire to lay. Once that fat wood takes off and hits that second stage of kindling that's underneath the fat wood, we'll go down to this applewood kindling. Again, it's criminal to base your fire in applewood. I would never do it if I had any other wood, but I don't have any other wood right now. All that I have is some old red willow that I use for the fire pit, and I would actually have to chainsaw it down, and I really don't feel like doing that this morning. Lazy Woe is lazy. So yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna coax this. I kind of was half-assed about my fire building today, but you know, there ain't no rules for this shit. What are they gonna do? Throw me in barbecue jail? You can see as the wind cuts across the pit how much we're whipping, and already coming out of the stack. That just shows you the airflow on these offsets. If they're built tightly and built correctly, which I you know, Johnny Deal, kind of my adopted dad, built this one for me. It's out of a 3/8 inch oil pipe, and it is tight. You'll see a little bit of smoke coming out of the ridges where the fire, or where the smoke box is plasma cut, but this thing is tight and holds heat like a mother. Literally on that damper up there, a 1/4 inch change in the damper can adjust fire temp by 15 or 20 degrees. It's nuts. This thing is super tight. So we have fire here. I'll get it to where I can throw the last of my starter sticks on there, and then we'll cut away and come back to y'all a little later in the day once we're ready to actually smoke. So this will all catch. This wood will go on. That will be our base, and it'll take 30 to 60 minutes. That will burn down to a bed of coals, like if you were, you know, going to the store, buying Kingsford, dousing it in lighter fluid. We want those white red coals, only we're going to be using natural wood with no petrochemicals. And then at that point, our friend Mr. West Texas Mesquite from the Johnny Deal Ranch goes on, and that is pretty cured. Some of this stuff is fairly dry. It's going to burn a little warm today. I'm only going to have product on for about an hour and a half, so I'm not sweating it too much. A couple of them are semi-cured. Cured just means how dry is it. If wood's cured, that means it's not green anymore. It's definitely ready to smoke. So I prefer to have a mix of cured and partially cured woods. I don't want anything green that's, you know, hissing and releasing moisture as it goes. But I do like having some that's not all the way cured, because it takes longer to burn, will smolder a little bit more, and will actually bring the temperature down a little bit. So today, with the wind and with most of our wood being fully cured, we could have some challenges, but you can see we've got that fat wood. Once it goes, it goes, and then the kindling and the leftover charcoal, which I should have showed y'all, but just imagine having a couple of logs that are just partially burned. When I'm done cooking for the day, I close both ends of the pit completely and let that remaining wood smolder. And so we usually get a couple of pieces that are not fully burned up, and they make perfect charcoal for starting the next fire. Dang, we're ripping today. I might have to quit my Nomex. One of my real close friends is a firefighter, and whenever he changes out gear, I get his other stuff. And so I've got some 1,000-degree rated Nomex, and it is awesome. I can have that Nomex on, and it comes up to, you know, about halfway up my wrist. I can literally reach in there and grab scorching hot logs, white coals, manipulate the fire just freehand. It's awesome. But that's pretty much it for now. In about 5-10 minutes, that kindling, or that second stage wood I just put on, is going to cook down, and then we'll throw on this log, which is, as you can see, pretty well cured. Right, it's got a little bit of yard waste from where we're sitting on the ground, but I've kept it in the shade, or in the sun rather, so it's mostly cured. One of the things we did as part of the reno is we got rid of a horrible sliding patio door, and some of the folks that have been over here, like Tig and Meat Axe and a couple others, will know that patio door sucked. Well, we got rid of it, but there's this awesome piece of glass on it, and it's got some window tint left on it, but we've converted it into a patio table, and that light passing through there helps cure the wood. So I actually store wood under this glass top table, and since it's glass, it cleans super easy, but light passes through it and helps cure the wood. And so I've got a dry place to store my wood right by the barbecue pit. I don't store all of my wood here on the side of the property over that way. I have some wood piles built up of different smoking woods and different burning woods, but that's pretty much it for now. I'll probably do a jump cut here and get back with y'all once we're ready to put smoking wood in, and then once we put steaks on. So catch y'all in a bit.